Okay, good morning, everyone, and let us start our class. As you might have noticed, I've already uploaded the materials in EduNext, so everything should be there at least for today. I've already uploaded the PowerPoint, which is still, I believe, no, actually it has been revised. The title has been revised into module number 6 on steam turbines. As usual, before I let you see the video, I already uploaded, again, I've already uploaded a pretty complete video. Although the video it only talks about the part 1, and actually it is a part 1 of 3-part video. Unfortunately, I have not had a chance to complete part 2 and part 3. So all we have now is video segment for part 1, which is for today, and for tomorrow, I'm afraid we have to go live. Okay. So anyway, as usual, I will give you a quick overview first before you guys can watch the video. So here it is. The material for this week is steam turbines. Okay, let me scroll back upwards. The beginning of the chapter. Okay, so this is the module number is still, this is still the old numbering. So this should be module 6, right? Steam turbines. All right, now the first part talks about the thermodynamics of steam turbines. Now this should be nothing new for you guys, because this is basically what it is a analysis based on Rankine cycle, although with several variations. So what you guys have learned in thermal class is the basic Rankine cycle, and in this class, in the utility systems class, you will learn about how we can perform, or we can add variations to the basic Rankine cycle, of course with the ultimate objective to improve the cycle, the thermodynamic cycle efficiency of the steam turbine. Okay, so any steam turbine works on Rankine cycle. Okay, and there's a term that it might be useful for you, which is the prime mover. So steam turbine is actually one of the most important prime mover in process industry, especially in large process plants. So a prime mover are machinery that converts energy and drives other process equipment. And there aren't too many types of prime movers, steam turbine being one of them. So we have, for example, electric motors, steam turbines, gas turbines, and also we call it gas engine in the industry. It's actually a piston engine. Okay. Now, also you might notice the word large process plants there. So yes, indeed, steam turbine, it tends to be used in larger chemical plants because operation of steam turbine is not really flexible. It's not. It is perhaps one of the slowest process unit to respond to any control action. Ya, jadi responnya itu lambat. Respon dari sistem steam turbine itu lambat ya, karena dia terkait dengan steam boiler. Jadi nggak ada yang namanya steam turbine itu berdiri sendiri. Okay, so there's no such thing as a standalone steam turbine. The steam has to come from somewhere, right? So invariably, a steam turbine unit is always coupled with steam boiler. Okay, so this makes a quite a bit complicated system. It makes it a large, complex system which tends to respond slowly to controlling actions. Okay, this is a. I would also like to give you some important notions. So next year, when you guys, is it next year, next semester, when you guys learn about process control, at least some of these will, some of this stuff will go back to you. Okay, you will be able to relate something between classes. Okay, so you'll be able, hopefully you'll be able to relate some of the stuff that we discuss in utility systems with what you will discuss in process control next semester. Okay. Okay, so the fundamental cycle is, of course, the Rankine cycle. This cycle conventionally uses water as the working fluid, okay, H2O. The latest development in steam turbine is what it's called an ORC technology, organic Rankine cycle. So instead of water, you have organic fluids, okay, which is the working fluid. So the organic fluid is vaporized and it's pressurized, though you do it steam. It is used to drive a steam turbine, but the steam, steam turbine, but instead of using water vapor, it uses organic liquid vapor. Okay. Now, there's some interesting way that we can do it in ORC cycle, although it's beyond the scope of this class. Suffice it to say that if we use organic cycle, then organic fluid, sorry, then the boiling can be done at much lower temperature compared to water. So you can utilize heat sources at a much lower temperature than what you can do with conventional water-based Rankine cycle. Okay, but anyway, that's stuff for other time. So for now, we're still dealing with the classic Rankine cycle, which uses H2O, water, as the working fluid. Okay. Now, again, you have seen much of this stuff in your thermal class. So, and I would like to give you guys time to watch the video. So I'm just gonna go very, very quickly, just skim over these pages. Okay. You need to go back, you need to refresh your memory on your thermal class, how to analyze, how to construct, first of all, okay? First of all, how to construct the correct thermodynamic diagram to explain or to describe the Rankine cycle, okay? So typically we use this, what is this? This is the TS diagram on the right-hand side here, okay? Temperature versus entropy, okay? And you should be able by now to easily explain what happens in each step. So from number 1, number 2, number 2, 3, 3 to 4, and so on. Okay. All right. So, and again, we will refresh your memory about how to calculate the Rankine cycle efficiency, their thermodynamic efficiency. Okay. This is an example of basic Rankine cycle calculations. Again, nothing new. This should be nothing. This should be no surprise for you guys at all because you have seen this stuff in your thermal class. Okay. Okay. So continue on with the calculation. Just to refresh your memory. Again, ultimately, all of these calculations, all of these mass. This is basically mass and energy balance calculation, right? There's nothing surprising here. Ultimately, we would like to be able to calculate this cycle efficiency, meaning for for each unit of thermal energy that we input to the system, how much work are we getting from it? Okay, and aside from the calculation, aside from the maths, I would also like you guys to have at least begin to build some feeling about the order of magnitude of the numbers. So these numbers are not just, we don't just pull this from out of thin air, but actually this efficiency levels is reasonable. This is what you can expect in real world. So when we talk about real world energy conversion system, actually the efficiency is quite lousy. Okay. So for example, Rankine cycle 30%, that's the normal efficiency level for conventional Rankine cycle. So clearly this is not good. This is why people do all sorts of things to try and improve the cycle efficiency of this steam engine, okay, for the Rankine cycle. Also, let me strike that. I retract my words. Okay. Okay. So next, in the later part of this discussion, we will review a number of ways on how to improve the cycle efficiency. Okay. Number one is, of course, to increase the degree of superheat. Okay. This should be easy, but you guys really need to understand what is the degree of superheat and how to look it up in the table and what it does to the cycle, to the whole cycle calculation. Okay. Jadi kalian mesti mengingat kembali dan kalian harus bisa pakai steam table. Kalian harus tahu yang namanya derajat superheat itu apa. Derajat lewat panas itu apa. Okay, I should warn you that last year we still have quite a number of students, failing some exam problems because they don't know what the degree of superheat is. Okay, now you guys have finished thermal class. You should know what is the degree of superheat. Okay, and the reason why it occurs in a water system, in an H2O system. Okay, ya. Jadi kalian harus tahu namanya derajat superheat itu apa. Gimana cara ngitungnya atau cara ngelihatnya di tabel kukus steam table. Okay. Needless to say that your exams will involve the use of steam tables, of course, right? Okay, so again, refresh your memories, re-familiarize yourself with steam table and this notion of degree of superheat. Okay, all right. So first, the easiest way to increase cycle efficiency is to improve, also is to increase the degree of superheat of your steam, right? And that can be easily explained by Rankine cycle analysis, which you will see in the video. Okay. Second way to improve efficiency is to increase steam pressure. Okay. Again, this can be easily explained by following the basic Rankine cycle analysis. Um, this has practical implications because if we want to, then if you look at these two, actually you can do these two things simultaneously. You can increase steam pressure and you can increase degree of superheat. Those two approaches can be done, and actually it has been done for ages in the process industry. So this is nothing new, this is nothing fancy. People have known this for decades, maybe even more than 100 years perhaps, that to improve the cycle efficiency, you have to either increase the superheat temperature and or increase the steam pressure. That's why it is always better to generate steam at the highest practical pressure possible and highest temperature possible, because that will ultimately improve the thermodynamic efficiency of the Rankine cycle. Okay, how? That you can learn from the video. Right? And you also learn about this concept of steam reheating. Okay, real life steam turbine does not consist of just one stage, but it consists of several expansion stages. Okay, and in between those stages, we can perform reheating to improve. Again, the overall objective is always to improve thermodynamic efficiency. Okay. All right, I'll let you guys see the video. That's it's a bit long. It's about 26 minutes. So it will almost take up the entire time of our class session today. But I'm still reserving some time for us to discuss if you have any questions at the end of the class. So let us meet again at we'll meet again at 8:40. Okay, 8:40. So we have about 10-15 minutes remaining time for discussion. Okay. Okay, go ahead and see the video. Thank you. One of the classic problems in this class, in utility systems class, is of course quantitative analysis of Rankine cycles. Okay, so you guys really, again, you guys will have to be really familiar about how to use the steam table. Now, of course, there will be time in the coming weeks where we will give you some exercise problems, but before that, again, I couldn't emphasize more the importance of being familiar with the steam table. So you guys, you really need to have number one is, of course, you need to have the steam table ready at any time. It has to be, it has to be within easy reach, and you have to be really familiar about how to use it. We recommend using the table that uses SI units, of course, and that can be easily obtained from your thermodynamics course textbooks. Okay, right. So really, I also need to emphasize that last year we have several students who clearly are not familiar with the steam table, so they still make silly mistakes. Okay, they still make fundamental mistakes when it comes to Rankine cycle calculation. Okay, some students, I think they mistook superheated steam for saturated steam. Again, okay, let me remind you this. Now I'm gonna ask you guys. So what determines? Let me put it another way. Okay, what is the number of degree of freedom of the saturated steam state? Can anybody guess, or anybody remember? what is the degree of freedom of the steam system at its saturated state? Is it 0? Is it 1, 2, 3, -1? Come on, guys. Can anybody guess what is the degree of freedom of steam at its saturated state? This is very important.
Sir, I think it's 1.
Yes, can anybody guess? Maybe you still remember your thermal class?
Is the degree of freedom
If
1?
I tell you, describe the state, okay, the state meaning the state variables. Jadi misalkan gini, saya minta kalian mendeskripsikan keadaan suatu kukus yang berada pada saturated, pada titik jenuhnya. Yeah, so if I'm asking guys, okay, please describe the thermodynamic conditions, meaning, you know, enthalpy, entropy, density, and so on, of a steam that is at its saturation state. Then what do you need to know? What do you need to specify? How many variables do you need to specify? This is actually a very, very, very important question. And very easy to answer. Now, in maybe, hopefully you still remember, okay? So in a unary system, in a single component system, like water and steam and ice, what is the maximum number of degree of freedom? Is it 0, 1, or 2? No, this is just a guessing game, guys. Is it either 0, 1, or 2? The maximum degree of freedom for a one component system. It is
2, sir.
What? I can. Oh, yeah, yes. Sorry about that. Yeah. Thank you, Kama, for reminding me. Yes, it seems my laptop speaker is still off. All right. Sorry about that. So let me ask you again. What is the number of degree of freedom for water? The maximum.
2, sir.
I thought I heard somebody. Degree of freedom. Yeah. Yes, it is
2,
2.
sir.
Okay. Now, yes, correct. Yep. Now, what is the degree of freedom of saturated steam? Is it 0, 1, or 2?
I'm guessing 1, sir.
Yes, you're guessing correctly. This is 1. It's 1. So when I ask you guys, please describe to me the thermodynamic variables, the thermodynamic state, sorry, meaning, you know, the internal energy dalam, entropy, temperatur, tekanan, enthalpy, and so on, entropy. Yeah? So if I'm asking you guys, okay, please describe to me the thermodynamic state of a steam at its saturation temperature, then you should ask me back what? Pak Walmiki, blah, 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 blah. You should ask me either the saturation pressure or the saturation what? Either one. Okay, you can ask me, so what is the saturation pressure or saturation temperature, right? So as you guys have guessed correctly, the degree of freedom of saturated steam is 1, meaning if we define the saturation pressure, then the saturation temperature and all of the other variables, thermodynamic state variables, will automatically be defined. Okay. So when we say, okay, what is the saturation temperature of steam? That is not enough. I should say, what is the saturation temperature of steam at 1 atmosphere, for example? So it's going to be 100 degrees Celsius, right? So saturated steam has a single degree of freedom. You can either, usually practically, in practical sense, either we specify the pressure or we specify the temperature. You cannot specify both for saturated steam. Now, what is the degree of freedom of superheated steam? And how can we achieve superheated state? Can you impose any degree of superheat to an existing saturated steam? So my first question. Okay. So what is the degree of freedom of superheated steam? Is it 1 or 0 or 2? It's actually 2, right? And how do you get a superheated steam? This is my last question. How do you get superheated steam? What do you do with saturated steam in order to make it superheated?
Heat it up further, sir.
Yes, quite simply, you heat it up above its saturation temperature at constant pressure. So when it comes to superheated steam, then now you have 2 degrees of freedom, right? You have the saturation pressure, which is constant at a saturation, which is given at a specified saturation temperature. Then of course, and then you can heat it up. You can heat up the steam further to any temperature that you want. Okay, so you can have an infinite number of, you can have an infinite level of degree of superheat. Ya. Jadi kalau kita bicara uap jenuh, maka itu derajat kebebasan adalah 1. Misal sekarang saya patok tekanannya, tekanan jenuhnya, saturation pressure-nya adalah 1 atmosfer. Maka temperatur jenuhnya sudah pasti 100 derajat Celcius. Kalau kemudian steam ya pada 100 derajat Celcius dan 1 atmosfer, which is itu adalah saturated steam, itu kalau saya panasin lagi ya terus naik temperaturnya. Kalau kita panasin pada tekanan konstan, dia akan terus naik temperaturnya menjadi uap lewat panas. It will become a superheated steam to whatever degree of superheat that you guys need for your process. Oke. Ya, jadi yang namanya degree of superheat itu ya terserah kita butuhnya berapa. Ya. Misalkan saya mau bikin steam pada tekanan 1 atmosfer and I would like to bring it to 150 degrees Celsius. That's fine. It means I have a superheated steam at 50 degree superheat, right? 150 minus its saturation temperature, which is 100. So we'll get 50 degree of superheat. Now, how many degrees of superheat that we actually need in practical sense, we will discuss that later on. Okay. Suffice it to say at this point, based on what you have seen in the video, it is sufficient to say for now that higher pressure, higher temperature leads to a better efficiency of the Rankine cycle. Okay. Yes, of course, when we talk about temperature and pressure, everything has its upper limit, right? Semua itu selalu ada batas atasnya. Jadi untuk masalah boiler, kemudian turbin kukus, batas atas dari tekanan dan temperatur itu biasanya ditentukan oleh what? I think I have asked this question several weeks ago. So if we say that Rankine cycle efficiency improves with system pressure and temperature, or degree of superheat rather, so is there anything that limits pressure and temperature in a practical real life boiler and steam turbine system? Is there anything that limits it? There must be, but you guys know what is the limit? What is the limiting factor here?
Cost.
Yes, that is of course correct. But can you be more specific? What makes the cost increase if you increase temperature and pressure?
If you make the temperature and pressure higher, that means you need to burn more, using more energy.
Yes, 100% correct. You need to burn more fuel. You need more energy input, and any other limitation there that will have an effect on cost?
The materials and the thickness of the container and stuff. sir.
Yes. You will need thicker pipes, thicker tubings. You need a better thermal insulation because at higher temperature you have more heat losses. And if the temperature is quite extreme, then you need more expensive materials. Usually, when you need to operate at high pressure and temperature, you need more expensive alloys. Okay, so that what limits our thermodynamic efficiency. So everything has a limitation. It's good to have higher pressure and temperature, but of course you will run the risk of higher costs. Okay. All right, so it's a good discussion, I think. Thank you very much. And unless you have any other questions, no, we will continue tomorrow with a discussion on further calculations on steam turbine efficiency and whatnot. Let me close this discussion today with some quick information from the power generation side. Ya, jadi saya tutup diskusi hari ini dengan sedikit insight dari pembangkitan listrik. Okay, so electric power generation, not strictly from process industry, but from the power generation industry. So in a power generation scheme, we have facilities that are called baseload power plants, atau dalam bahasa Indonesia adalah pembangkit listrik beban dasar. Okay, baseload power generation facility or baseload power plant. So these steam turbines is usually employed as baseload power generation. Okay, in PLN, in companies like PLN. And the reason for that is because it's not easy to turn on and off or to increase and decrease steam rate. Okay, and a boiler is a process equipment that is very slow to start up and equally slow to shut down. Ya, jadi untuk men-start up dan mematikan suatu unit boiler itu perlu waktu yang lama sekali, hitungannya bisa berhari-hari. Ya. Okay. You need to fire up you need to turn on the boiler feed water pump first to ensure that you have a good circulation of boiler feed water, because it is the boiler feed water that is actually maintaining the temperature of the boiler under control. If you have mishaps, if you have disturbances in boiler feed water, then it will be very, very dangerous for your boiler operation. You can have a very rapid overheating if your boiler feed water stops circulating. Okay. Jadi biasanya yang pertama yang dipastikan adalah bahwa sirkulasi boiler feed water-nya berlangsung dengan baik. Setelah itu baru dinyalakan bahan bakarnya. Setelah itu kemudian ditunggu sampai boilernya cukup panas, menghasilkan steam pada tekanan dan temperatur yang ditargetkan, dan itu perlu waktu lama. Ya. It will take several days to achieve the desired process state, okay, process set points. Now, not to mention the steam boiler, that is just the boiler. Not to mention the steam turbines. Okay, so clearly, when the energy source of your steam turbine is slow to heat up, slow to start up, and slow to shut down, then you better use this power generation for continuous load, for constant load. Okay, and what about the fluctuating power load? Now you can imagine easily. Okay, right now in the morning, probably most of the lights in our houses are off, right? Jadi kita matiin lampu karena di luar sudah terang. But you use some electric power to power up your cell phones, to power up your laptops, to have this class, and so on. So for residential areas, usually the electric power consumption load in the morning hours is usually rather low. But when it gets to evening hours, it usually increases because we turn on our lights. But however, in large cities in Indonesia, that load usually also picks up again around noon because everybody turns on their ACs, right? So to make a long story short, we will have daily variation or hourly variations of electric loads, okay, in a given location. So something has to be done to accommodate for that variation in load. So we know what it's called. We have what is called a picker, okay, or peak shaving power plant. Yeah, so these would be power plants that can be turned on and off quickly, that can follow these variations in load reliably, and steam turbine cannot do that. We have to rely on something else to make up for that fluctuating load. Yeah, so for that we have what is called the gas turbines, also gas engines. Ya, jadi selain beban yang konstan tadi, kita juga punya beban puncak yang naik turun setiap hari. Ya, pas malam naik karena orang nyalain lampu, pas siang, pas pagi turun, siang naik lagi karena orang nyalain AC dan seterusnya. Oke, nah untuk yang melayani beban yang naik turun ini tidak cocok menggunakan steam turbine. Steam turbine itu cocok kan dipanteng pada RPM konstan pada beban konstan. Nah, untuk melayani yang naik turun ini kita perlu yang lain, misalnya turbin gas atau piston engine dan so on. Oke. Alright, okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe and stay healthy, guys.